At the beginning of 1917, the Russian Empire is still governed by an all-powerful Tsar. From his palace in St. Petersburg, one man, answerable only to God, rules over 170 million people. Nicholas II holds more power than any other monarch in Europe. He has resisted political change. But the Tsar's days are numbered. Discontented, hungry workers go on strike in St. Petersburg. Russia has been fighting in the First World War for nearly 3 years, and the Tsar's huge armies have become demoralized and disaffected. They've suffered defeat after defeat. 2 million have died. In February 1917, there was a great upheaval. A provisional government takes over. The Tsar abdicates and is arrested. What happens next will change the course of history. Russians believed they had won their freedom at last. In the euphoria, soldiers whose mutiny had helped bring down the Tsar celebrated with workers. Most people expected democracy, elections, and an assembly to steer the country. Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, leader of the small Bolshevik party, wanted more revolutionary change. A state run by and for the working class, a dictatorship of the proletariat. First, he built up popular support by promising to end the war, give land to the peasants, and power to the workers. Then in October, the Bolsheviks were ready to seize power. Among Lenin's supporters was a young poet, Alexander Bryansky.
Take to the streets, rise up, raise your hammer, forge happiness for the world, end the bowing and scraping, go boldly, shine, rejoice.
On October 25th, 1917, the Bolsheviks moved on the Winter Palace, where the provisional government was based. Bryansky was with them.
On Lenin's advice, the sailors put on the uniforms of Winter Palace employees. They worked their way into the building through back entrances, attics and roofs.
On a warship behind the Winter Palace, Bolshevik sailors waited to give a signal for the final stages of the coup.
When the aurora fired, everyone rushed forward, shouting hurrah. We climbed over the gates and broke into the Winter Palace. I was at the front. I ran up the stairs and stumbled into a big hall where there was a whole detachment of officer cadets with their rifles at the ready. I shouted, "Throw down your rifles!" And they threw down their weapons as if to order. They'd seen how angry we were.
The taking of the Winter Palace was reconstructed on film by the revolutionary's own director, Sergei Eisenstein, in a highly dramatized version. In reality, there was little resistance. Only 5 were killed. But the film version helped establish a key myth for the revolution, a heroic story of how the workers seized power. That same night, Lenin spoke to the workers' revolutionary councils, the Soviets, setting out his vision. He told them Russia had turned a new page, leading to the victory of socialism. From now on, he said, the oppressed masses will themselves form the government. Outside the hall, many were frightened by what the Bolsheviks might do. But the early believers were excited by Lenin's message and full of hope.
Что будущее России пойдет по другому пути, по пути власти.
I thought that the future of Russia would take a different path, that the people would exercise power through the workers and soldiers, Soviets. Everyone would work wherever they were, free from exploitation.
Свободным от всякой эксплуатации.
Ну, мне нравилось, что эта теория обещает в будущем.
What I liked was the promise of a happy, classless society in the future, in which everyone would enjoy all the good created by the society.
Потому что меня что привлекало? Справедливость.
I was attracted by the idea of justice, equality between people, acting in the name of humanity.
Действия всех наших структур ради человека.
Soon after the revolution, the Bolsheviks became known as the Russian Communist Party and moved the capital from St. Petersburg to Moscow. They took Russia out of the war in Europe. The Tsar and his family were executed. And from Moscow, they planned to extend the revolution to the rest of the world. A forceful message was sent to workers everywhere. If the proletariat in other countries followed the communist way, they could kick out kings and capitalists and achieve a world free of exploitation and war. Harry Young went to Moscow in a delegation from the tiny British Communist Party.
And Zinoviev, who was the chairman, said the next speaker will be Comrade Lenin. Hit a pin drop. Dead silence, vast hall, 3,000 people from all over the world. And a little man, or not much bigger than me, broader-shouldered, with rather Mongolian-looking face, very bald head, little whiskers there. And he got up and he just leaned over like a podium, you know, over this corner, like that. And he just talked to him like a Dutch uncle.
Во всем мире растет союз коммунистов. В ряде стран победила уже советская власть. Еще недолго, и мы увидим победу коммунизма во всем мире. Мы увидим основание Всемирной Федеративной Республики Советов.
I thought he had set the scene for the World Revolution.